Are we ready?
We're live.
We are?
We're live.
Shoot.
Yes. I got my headphones on because this was something we had talked about putting out in the universe. Intentions. We put out intentions to get headphones so we could listen to the quality of the audio.
Yes.
Right? We put out intentions to upgrade the show, get some mics, get headphones, have like a very stylish, good-looking audio and fact-checker guy. And it happened. It's all here.
So I don't
It's
have
coming
a microphone,
together.
but is my voice deep and sexy?
Ooh, who's this guy? All right. So, dude, a lot of stuff been going on.
Well, what about the clink clink? Welcome back, everybody.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
welcome back, everyone.
back.
Hey, episode 14. Clink, clink.
Woo.
And today's theme is we're doing wine night. Hey.
Wine.
Right.
Let's whine about it.
I know, right?
Why not?
Why not?
So, I just thought this was cool. It's this tattoo girl.
It looks pretty.
Because any girl that's tattooed is pretty attractive, I think.
Pretty
And her
special.
name's Rose.
She's pretty, yeah, especially when her name's Rosé.
Her name's Rosé?
She's not easy. All right,
There's
so
nothing about that says it's easy.
Where'd you get that wine?
it was at the liquor store. Just at the liquor store. That one liquor store. Went to the wine section and I was like looking for an old reliable. Or no, I was looking for like a nice bottle. I don't know names. I don't know wines, and I know people do, but I don't. So I was like, "Oh, that's a." I thought. Well, I was looking at the bottles. Like, I want to find a unique bottle. And then I thought, I saw that one. I was like, "Oh, tattoo girl." Like,
Yeah.
what's not fun about that?
Columbia Valley, United States.
Columbia Valley, United States. Bam.
Is it Riesling?
Huh?
Riesling?
Riesling? No, this is one's the. It's a.
I think it was a rosé.
It's a
Did you
rosé.
say it was
It's a
rosé?
rosé. Yes, there's Columbia Valley on here. I just like the art. It had the art of a tattooed girl on the label. I thought that was cool.
That's how I pick my alcohol
Yeah.
most of the time.
It's like, does it have
By
a
its
tattooed
looks.
woman on it?
By its looks.
Well, which came first, the tattoo or the wine?
I'd say the wine.
I go with the woman.
I think somebody gets the wine and then they
Then they get the tattoo.
Oh.
go get tattooed.
You know, that's like Sailor Jerry's rum. First of all, Sailor Jerry's rum is delicious. It's strong. And then you talk about what came first, the rum or the tattoo. Yeah, you know exactly how that
And
happened.
you take the rum and then you become a sailor. And you know most
You ended
sailors,
up in the Navy.
You end up as
You-
a
You
pirate.
Because that's how people become seamen.
We're talking about sailors.
Oh,
When you
that
say
was
seaman,
you.
I always wonder what
I started with tattoos.
Hey,
And pirates.
listen, it's just seamen or sailors. Let's not
I
discriminate.
always wonder where Jeanette goes with it when she starts a conversation with seamen.
Oh my goodness.
So
So let's continue
I'm
talking about
celebrating
your.
March.
I see
St.
that.
Patty Day's
I
early.
like it.
You know, luck of the Irish.
Happy birthday. It's my niece's birthday coming up.
Oh, dude, happy birthday.
Nice. So many
Dude,
reasons to celebrate in March.
March
Guess
is
whose birthday also is in March?
what?
No
man,
way.
the myth,
When is
the
that?
legend, Mitch.
Mitchell.
Man
That
of
is
mystery.
awesome.
When's your birthday?
March 30th.
Whoa!
Ooh, we're not getting a break, are we?
It's a
Any
month-long
reason? Every
celebration. So we're gonna start by celebrating daylight saving times over.
Yep. Daylight savings on a Sunday,
You know, we gotta celebrate
13th.
St. Patty's Day.
which is on a
We're gonna
Wednesday.
celebrate
Wait,
St.
wait,
Mitchell's
wait.
Day,
Hold on, wait. Daylight savings time is over this Sunday?
March 13th.
Oh,
That's
March
2 weeks.
13th.
March 13th.
We get an
So
hour
we
back.
spring back.
Spring forward.
Spring forward.
Yeah.
Longer
you don't,
days.
You don't spring
Longer
back. You
days.
fall
You
back.
fall back and you spring forward.
Right. Both ways you're gonna fall, hit your
So
head.
here's the thing. This is what people have to worry about for that date. If you're traveling, don't miss your flight.
Oh.
Ask me how I know.
Because you guys are coming back.
We not on the
that day?
13th. The Saturday, the 12th. But this is what often happens. People go on spring break, they travel, and they end up not paying attention to it being 1 hour later than it is.
Wow.
on
But
their-
what a hell of a
I
story
love
that
it.
would be,
We got
right?
stranded one time when we were traveling for spring break like that.
I love it.
So that's
I'm
a
just
Sunday.
That's all I'm gonna say is I love it.
Okay, so other days,
So okay.
St. Patrick's Day.
St. Patrick's Day.
Any
St.
other
Patrick's Day.
birthdays?
No.
Nobody else.
St. Patrick's Day is on a Thursday.
Well, Patrick's
Oh, wait,
birthday is March 4th.
Oh, wow.
Wait
And
a minute.
Patrick's birthday is March 4th, and he's St. Patrick.
St. Patrick.
Oh, God, that's got trouble written all over it.
Yeah.
Your birthday's on a Tuesday on the 15th.
Oh, gosh. No, it's not.
Hmm.
I need somebody to fact check it. And if you can't find that on my Wikipedia page, then obviously it's not true.
No.
Is that the 29th?
What is it?
My-
What day is
We
it?
make it up.
My birthday's on the 32nd.
We make it up, actually.
Yeah, the largest shark in the world
Well,
was caught on February 29th.
You want to know a bad story? Is whenever I'm dating and I'm talking to girls, whenever it's their days, I call that Shark Week.
Uh-huh.
So I always get whenever we're messaging and stuff, it's like do that George Lopez drunk call. Hey, 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 hey.
not a
What
lot
do you
of
pass
not
over?
a lot of
What are
people
you
know
doing?
that
¿Qué pasó?
reference to Shark
I know,
Week.
yeah. Like
I've actually used it before, and that person had no idea what I was saying.
So I'll either get a text message back of a shark, or I'll be like, "Hey, it's Shark Week," and I go, "I was just watching National Geographic." No, never mind. Yeah, okay, I get it.
I think I'm gonna steal that. I'm gonna have a
It's a
vicious
thing.
shark.
It does, and you know
I'll
what?
send that
And to
picture out.
show that I'm in solidarity with all the lovely ladies of the world, and I'm feeling their pain for Shark Week, I have 4 to 5 pairs of shark socks I wear to mourn the week.
Well,
Oh, that's
how
right.
many weeks are you mourning?
Only for a couple of days, so I can enough pairs of shark socks I can mourn with them. It's like, all right, I'm gonna put my shark socks on.
Famous people born in March.
A lot of people are born in March. Albert Einstein. I knew I was awesome.
Yeah, don't get too quick because I think Prince Edward was also born.
And we all know what Prince Edward got. in trouble
Whatever
for.
happened there? Did he pay somebody off, or
Just
it's not?
recently.
It's not in the news
No,
anymore.
just
it's not.
recently, like a week or two ago, they made a settlement with that young girl that was like 14.
Accusing
Oh my
him.
god.
Shaquille,
Shaquille O'Neal.
Lady Gaga.
Lady Gaga. Eric Clapton is a Pisces also, I remember.
Aries?
Pisces.
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 Before.
Is
So
it Pisces and what is it on the cusp
Towards
of?
the end.
Did you say Aries and
It's
Pisces?
Aries to Pisces, and then from Pisces, the Zodiac starts all over. So what's April?
April's Aries at the end.
Oh, so what comes before Pisces then?
Oh boy. Fact check.
I mean, I feel like we should know this because,
Aquarius?
every time you go to the bar, it's like, so what's your sign? It's like, I knew that. Are you a Virgo?
It's like the lead-in. You're like naming all the signs of the zodiac. You must be a Cancer. Oh, you're not. Well, I don't know.
You are a Cancer.
You are a
Get
Cancer.
away from me.
You remind me of Cancer.
Scorpio.
Are you an apple? Because you're the apple of my eye.
Ooh.
Oh, my.
Whoa!
I'd like
Yes,
to know.
that's a constellation in the southern
I would
hemisphere.
really like to know who that word, Don.
I was
Invite her
born
to
in-
the show.
Uranus. Pisces. All right. So Aries.
So, question for you. Question. Is it pronounced Uranus or Uranus?
I think it just depends on who the person is. Uranus.
Depends who you're
Uranus.
trying to offend.
And I don't know if you caught me when I
Good
I
one.
said let me ask you a question.
Let me ask. It just depends on who you're trying to offend. Great. That's a great response.
So
Pisces is before that. It's
the
Aquarius.
last sign of the zodiac.
Aquarius, then Pisces,
Which is mostly a March, and then Aries towards the end.
So Aries. So it's Aquarius, Pisces, then Aries.
Aquarius, Pisces, and Aries. So right now must be in the age of
You're
Aquarius.
the age of Aquarius. Age.
So
Do you know what the 13th sign of the zodiac is?
There's not a 13th sign.
There is a 13th.
Oh,
sign.
really?
There really is. Because the lunar the solar cycle is you have to actually Google 13th sign.
Really, I'm only
So-
counting 12.
So because the imperfection of the calendar, we have a leap year every 4 years,
Yes.
right? And then that builds and builds and builds. And what you have is there's a period where there's an actual 13th sign of the zodiac,
You're right.
but it comes right after Pisces.
And what sign is that? What is the 13th sign?
It's your mom.
Oh my God. Es tu madre. Is that what it is? It's tu madre.
My sign is tu madre.
It's tu madre. My sign is tu madre.
I don't recall it because
All right. So there's 13 signs of the Capricorn, Aquarius, Pisces, Aries, Taurus, Virgin.
which
It's called Ophiuchus.
yeah, and there's a story behind that. and
Between
everything.
Scorpio and Sagittarius. Ophiuchus.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I know her. She's nice.
Yeah. Ophiuchus.
It sounds evasive.
That sounds
She's
like-
evasive.
Uranus.
Uranus.
Ophiuchus.
It's over by
Uranus.
Uranus.
Is it Ophiuchus or Ophiuchus?
It sounds like you have a little fuchus coming out of Uranus.
Uranus. Anyway.
Uranus. Uranus is in your Yufuku constellation.
So does anybody really believe in these zodiac things?
So, okay.
It's actually fun. It's fun to. It's fun
Actually,
to. You think it's true?
I don't think it's true.
people make decisions based off of it.
They do. Foolishly.
And I've actually had a friend once tell me like, hey, like last year, my friend's like, Mars is in retrograde and this is going to happen and people are going to be a little crazy and all that. And I was like, oh, that's so foofy. And during that period, I was like, yeah, people were kind of crazy. Why?
So all that is like, have you ever saw a word you'd never seen before, or a word that looked up the definition of the word, and then suddenly you start seeing it often afterwards?
Put your
It becomes much more.
There you go.
You start seeing the word, you start recognizing the word, and then it's just awareness of it.
Right.
That's what I think it is, because there was a time when I actually thought somebody's that I was interested in was a Capricorn.
Ah.
So I went to the library, Barnes and Noble, whatever it was, and I took the book of the sign, and are they compatible
with Libra, and I
I just did the whole research. Spent maybe an afternoon just having some fun doing it. Months later, I realized it wasn't a Capricorn. It was a Sagittarius. So every time I thought, hey, this makes sense, or okay, this is the angle I'll take, or this is, but no.
But you know what happens? Like, okay, I've dated girls that turn out to be like Leos and Taurus. It's pretty common for me. And I think when people know what their sign is and it's a powerful sign, they want to take the attribute of that. Like, man, Leo's very powerful, so I'm going to be very, like, over time they become what they perceive that they are.
So when you talk about intention and trying to manifest that, it's the
Yeah.
same thing. If you believe something, or if you want to believe something, that's what will become your.
So you
What
can
could become your
manifest
future?
your astrological sign.
So if
Yeah.
you
Interesting.
right, so the astrological sign is just a crutch for you to be able to manifest your future, your own destiny.
I manifest I was going to be strong and good looking.
So are you what?
A Scorpion, a Leo? Are you a Leo?
Is there a dust mite constellation?
There's a
So what about if you were born in China,
It's
the year of the sheep or the rat?
No, it's a farm animal this year. It's like an ox or something. Because it's supposed to be a good year for me because I'm a horse. And the horse this year is this past year for the Chinese zodiac was like a farm animal. It was like an ox or something like that. So the horse gets along with an
So the
ox.
Chinese make it much more complicated because they throw in the year also, and then it changes.
So why do people believe in the Chinese zodiac more? Or like, I don't want to say more, but why do people give more credence to the Chinese zodiac versus the Western European Greco zodiac?
That's a good question.
Well, the Chinese zodiac is based off attributes of animals you find here on Earth. Where our zodiac is just based, the one that we follow, the Greco, with the Pisces and all that, that's based just off of images you see in the sky that they said, oh, hey, that looks like a guy up there. Oh, hey, that looks like a scorpion.
Well, they also added other things like wood, fire, earth,
The
metal.
4 elements.
The
There's a
elements to
cycle.
it.
It's all about the cycle of having the opposite
Man.
sign, right? What's the opposite of water? It's fire. Then you have the metal and you have wood.
So this is the year 2022.
You're the tiger.
You're the tiger. So like if it was the year of the ox and your Chinese sign was a rat,
Water tiger.
so like for instance, if you're a rat, you're born in the year of the rat, and this past year was an ox, they would say that your year would probably be a little bit tougher. And if you look at the attributes of a rat versus an ox, a rat would not get along with an ox.
Well, there is a story of a guy that took the SATs and scored a perfect score and thought, wow, I really can do all this, and then went ahead, and then they finds out 10 years later that his score was actually a mistake and he really had failed it miserably.
Oh my God.
But it was enough to throw him, to give him the confidence to go forward. So I'd rather believe in astrological signs that have good things to say.
So did his business fail that year?
When he found
I
out he
can't
really
do
wasn't
know
that
the truth.
smart.
I can't do this.
Yeah, see, mine is kind of weak. I don't like mine. Mine's a goat.
But think about what a goat can do.
I
They
don't
go into
know.
places that other people can't go into. They're very resilient. You think about a goat, right? Powerful. They have powerful horns. They could climb up a mountain on nothing. They'll never struggle in the wild. Like you see goats, they eat everything. So they don't struggle. They can overcome any environment. No, unless it said you were a scared goat.
Or you smell like those ones that fall. If you scare a goat, it falls over.
And they freeze and they just lay there frozen. There's actually some in this.
Well, it's probably part of the Zodiac. It says goat people are known to be shy, gentle, friendly,
Well-
mild-mannered. They're also sympathetic, kind, have a strong sense of compassion.
Sounds like a goat. That sounds like I'd buy that. Sounds like a goat.
At
Now,
first.
are the goat people related to Mothman?
Now that is not. That's a different.
That's
a different Zodiac.
Okay.
The
That
Mothman
is
is a
so
different.
Bigfoot. I don't know.
The goat,
So,
ram, sheep.
Man.
We're talking about like things you see in the sky in the Zodiac, right?
I think
Right.
a lot of people probably
Will you Google this?
trying too
Yeah.
much.
How would you Google it?
What's the?
What was what was going on astrologically when Russia invaded Ukraine?
Oh.
It was right after the Olympics, right?
No.
What was it like on the date? You mean?
Yeah.
Or-
What something happened astrologically on that day that Russia invaded
Oh,
Ukraine?
did you already look this up? Cheater. You already know.
I do know, but I don't know enough about it.
Oh.
Russian. So let's see. Russian invasion fell on. There was a specific fell on.
Well, wasn't Nancy Reagan?
They had a
Wouldn't
normal
she-
astrological.
She would look up,
that they would confer with
confer with
regularly.
for making decisions.
They would confer with a who?
An astrologist.
An
Really?
astrologist.
Nancy would. Nancy Reagan.
So there was something that happened astrologically on that day, and I don't know the keyword,
Mitchell's
the keyword
going
to
to
figure
war.
out, the keyword to figure it out.
We have Mitchell on a mission.
Astrological Russian
Well,
invasion.
let's try to do this.
Let's divide it up. Say what was the date that was the invasion?
Here we go. No, that's it said an astrolog. Let me see if this has it here. Jeanette, say something. Keep everybody entertained. Talk about cocks or something.
That's always an entertaining subject, isn't it? People are like, "Oh my God, what's she gonna say?" Absolutely nothing about it, Mark.
What happened astrologically
But
in
we will
March?
talk about, because Mark didn't finish introducing the wine, trying a new Barefoot Wine Hard Seltzer.
It's February,
So-
actually.
Since we have zero sponsorship, Barefoot consider sponsoring us.
You get to drink whatever
Yeah.
you want because it's.
Oh, look at that.
Ooh, okay, Pluto.
Planetary alignment.
The instability is due to Mars, and Mars loses some of its power. War threat will diminish. Oh, go ahead about Pluto. Oh, that's right. It was Pluto.
Pluto, yeah,
Once
planetary
every
alignment
230
on
22.
It's once every
Oh.
230 some odd years when Pluto aligns.
248 years.
So, matter of fact, look what happened the last time Pluto aligned with us.
Like 248
It-
years ago?
And you could probably look that up, like Pluto's last alignment, significant events or something like that, because somebody was saying there was a reason it happened on that day, 2/22/22, first of all, but Pluto aligned, but there was another big event that happened the last time Pluto aligned.
The French invasion of Fishguard. 1797.
Is there anything else that happened that day? And I thought it was related to Russia.
the Royal Yacht Alberta brings the body of Queen Victoria.
Yes.
That was it. By God.
By
That
So-
was it.
We found a pattern. We found a pattern. Watch
Oh,
out.
God.
So make a note, write this in a stone tablet, bury it somewhere so that our future, whatever, 248 years from now, we'll know
Pluto-
something. On this day in 248 years, nothing will happen.
The Pluto conjunction.
Nothing will absolutely happen.
So there was another event that happened, and I wish I would have written it down. But they say there was another major event that had happened when the last time, and they based it off of that.
Did you know that on February 2nd, Jeff Bezos announced he's stepping down as CEO of Amazon?
Yeah, I do remember that. I mean, he still owns the company with all the stock that he owns, though.
Okay, what was
So-
the date of the invasion?
It's 2/22/22, but like I say, it had the article I wrote was more regarding about the alignment of Pluto and how people had made decisions regarding the alignment of Pluto. So the last time you and I talked was last week. I said we have to do a show because crazy stuff's going on in Ukraine. It was like the day or two before the invasion. I said we have to talk about this because it's
Yeah,
been
you did.
crazy out there.
Oh my gosh.
And then
What's
everything.
up?
What, you found
On
it?
February 22nd, the U.S. death toll from COVID-19 passes 500,000 people.
Wow.
Think about that number. It's higher than the U.S. deaths in World War I, World War II, and the Vietnam War combined. Combined. World War I, World War
Yeah.
II, and Vietnam.
Wow.
That is bananas. And you know what's crazy
Is
about
it
that?
like BANANAS?
I don't even know what to say.
I'm just saying that.
Like a deer in headlights. I'm like,
BANANAS. No, but that's crazy though. Like,
it is crazy. And let me tell you why it's crazy.
Jeanette, why was it crazy?
Let me tell you why it's crazy. Because I think that with COVID, you just know too many stories that hit
Home.
too close to home. I mean, when people go out to war, they die out in the field. Civilians don't see that, but it hits close to home. It's
Right.
like family members, it's friends, it's people you know. So it's
Well,
it's crazy.
Accidents, like we were talking about a vehicular accident the other day, possibly
yeah.
vehicular homicide. Talking about all this other stuff that happens, but not with regularity.
hmm
Well, it's COVID, in a matter of, has it been 2 years already?
It's been 2 years.
500,000 people have died in 2 years. That's more people that live in our town. That's half of the town south of us, El Paso, Texas. That's half of the population. They're probably.
Can you imagine, like, if you were to actually see that number, like, from one day to another?
That's like
that would be like,
the plague.
wow.
That's like the plague. People are just dying left and right. It's just like, I'm dead. You know what I mean? Like, so, and what's crazy, so when COVID started, we were talking about like, it's like, this is going to be big. It's going to happen.
Oh, yeah.
And it was just like, there was
February 24th.
there was
The
a
invasion.
February 24th.
Russian leader Vladimir Putin announces.
There's all sorts of talk about that going on too. So, you know,
what's going to happen with the Chinese?
well,
If nobody does anything to
let's get there. Let's get there because you know something we talk about a lot. Like I've always reiterated this is like
islands,
Taiwan, but it's like we live in a day and age where. Why are we fighting wars anymore?
I was going to say, you mentioned that. Why do you feel like you have to...
countries?
Yeah, why do you have to take over a country?
Let your fellow neighbor live their life and do what they want. Like, if it doesn't hurt you, why are we in a time anymore where there's such a thing as a war? Like, okay, so I'm a history guy. You know what I mean? The Crimean War was like a world war back in the day. All the major countries, European countries, were involved in the Crimean War.
This is super important for me to know. Hold on.
And Crimea...
Just because you do this to me all the time.
What?
How is that?
That's very good.
You see? It's interesting.
It has a peach.
It's
Natural
interesting,
flavors.
right?
Very nice. I like the peach.
Even this tattoo girl is very delightful. It's very mild.
Mm-hmm.
It's not overwhelming at all.
Sparkling water.
You know what? The tattoo girl leaves your palate very clean. It doesn't have a lingering taste. But
Not like all tattoo girls, huh? You would know about that.
all
huh?
tattoo girls always leave a
Do
good
they
taste.
always leave
They always leave
the
a good
lingering
aftertaste. But yeah, why are we fighting wars anymore?
Well, let's see that we can say that because we're in the U.S. and we really don't have
Right.
anybody that would
It's-
invade us
we have
from
no
Mexico
context.
or from.
But
No
also,
context.
too, though, I mean, look at the lives that we lead. Even though we...
Even the worst of it here is better than a lot
I
of
mean,
world-
there's
other
there's
places.
probably a lot of reasons why people need to... Or they feel like they need to go to war.
Can you imagine if
Rush-
the Russians wanted to take over Alaska? I mean, that's like a.
They couldn't do it,
Or
though.
what about if, I don't know. Hawaii. I mean, the Japanese tried to do that.
Do you know
but
the population of the U.S. is greater than that of Russia?
really?
Yes.
I didn't know that.
Well, because it's all barren land. Majority of their
It's
land.
a lot of barren land. but
Yeah,
you would
it's
think,
not
like,
because
the
it's a
Russians,
big
the Russians
country.
lost more people than anybody else in World War II, and it's a big area. But the Russian USSR, it's the United Soviet Socialist Republic. The USSR is actually a
Conglomerate of.
conglomerate
We got
of
this.
many republics.
That tattoo girl is really getting
She's
to
like,
you, isn't
"Ooh."
she?
I got a tattoo girl in my mind. Haha.
Tattoo
but we're making hand signals here, like baseball. but yeah, it's actually
give him the notepad. And
it's actually a conglomerate of many like I don't want to say nations, but like Kazakhstan, Bulgaria. It's all these. They were nations, and Russia was a conglomerate of like 27 some different places. You know what I mean? So. And they were all socialists. They all followed Moscow's lead and all that. And prior to the fall of the Soviet Union, they all took their orders from like marching orders from Moscow.
So the Ukraine
It was
was separated, became independent.
after the fall of the Berlin Wall and after the end of the United Socialist USSR, United Socialist Soviet Republic. So once they came to, they fell. Ukraine just recently they demonstrate. So Ukraine was always there. But they had one of these governments that were loyal to the USSR, just like Belarus, loyal to USSR, just like Czechoslovakia, loyal to USSR. Their
Moldova.
Moldova. You know what movie Moldova came out in? What was that? What was Tom Hanks where he lives in the airport?
Is that where he was from?
terminal.
They're like, you don't have a country. There's no government in Moldova. He's like, Moldova. There's like a civil war. Moldova. Anyways, so all their governments are friendly to the USSR. They're the Eastern Bloc. And then you have the Warsaw Pact because they're all together. They all have an alliance together with Russia. So Russia, USSR comprised all that, but they're still individual countries.
So does anybody really understand why Russia really wanted?
That's the thing. Nobody knows.
I was going to say,
So-
like, I'm over here trying to read on all of this, and
So
I'm like,
here's the thing.
I don't
here's the
understand it
They
myself.
didn't like
Okay.
the Western
Let's-
incursion close to their borders.
So here's the thing. So you always had the Eastern Bloc nations, Romania, Estonia, Moldova, Bulgaria, all them, right? They were part of the Warsaw Pact, and they were part of the USSR, right? USSR no longer exists, but they're still a part of the Warsaw Pact. Kazakhstan, they all support Russia, right? And then suddenly you have these old Eastern Bloc countries that were a part of Russia, that supported Russia, that were part of the Warsaw Pact, that are allies. They become a part of NATO. NATO's the North Atlantic Treaty Organization. That were if you go to get to war, if you declare war on one, you declare war on all of them.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Well, suddenly all these Eastern Bloc countries, which are on the border of the Soviet or of Russia, now they're all members of NATO.
Right.
And Ukraine, which is Ukraine's the largest country in Europe.
What?
It's bigger than Germany. Germany's the second largest country in Europe. Ukraine's larger than Europe. Ukraine's the size of Texas. And you think about how big that is, because France is only 1/3 the size of Texas.
Mm-hmm. Well, the countries in Europe are very small.
Right. So you have France that's one size a third of Texas, and you have Ukraine that is the size of Texas. So Ukraine's the largest European country, which is on the border of Russia. So Russia was getting pissed off as it was because Ukraine wanted to become a member of NATO. They want to be a part of the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, saying that if you declare war on me, you incur on my soil, I've got 30 some odd countries, including the United States, that are going to back me up. Russia got really antsy about that. Lithuania, they're part of NATO. Poland, part of NATO. They were all a part of the Eastern Bloc. They were part of the USSR back in the, prior to the 80s, before the Berlin Wall fell. So Mr. Putin not only feels threatened by NATO, he's assuming that we're going to find a reason to go to war with him, to invade him like we did Iraq and Afghanistan, right?
That's nuts.
Which is-
That's the thing. That's what anybody from the
Everybody
U.S.
thinks
is like. Thinks
we don't want
nuts.
to invade them, but
No.
they're thinking we're going to invade them. So not only that, Putin wants to restore the Russian Empire. And what was the Russian Empire? The USSR.
Mm-hmm.
And how is he going to reestablish the USSR?
Well, so him and China. So he's going to do is next. He already got Belarus. What is it? Belarus.
Yeah.
Who's going to stop him from Lithuania, Latvia, Estonia, and then go into Poland?
But that's the thing. He can't, though, because Poland, Lithuania, Estonia, Moldova, they're all a part of NATO now.
Guess so. This is one thing a thread I saw. I don't know if it's true. It probably is, but Ukraine signed a pact to give up its nuclear weapons.
They did. They gave up. Belarus didn't.
For security. From the U.S., from NATO, etc.
And now that he needs help, and here's something really interesting. Switzerland.
Don't give up your weapons.
Switzerland, right? Common theme. Don't give up your net weapons, right? And we can go into that later. But Switzerland, historically, since medieval times, has been fiercely neutral. They will not be drawn into any war. They shut off all the Russian banks, and they're supplying weapons to Ukraine.
But see, here's the thing. Nobody did anything, what 5 years ago? Remember, what's that little island off of Ukraine in the south?
Crimea.
The
Crimea.
Russians went into Crimea.
Nobody cared.
Well, exactly. That was like just like Hitler, man.
And look at Crimea.
Same thing. They go into
Crimea.
Nobody did anything.
Remember this, the Crimean War. That was the largest. That was like one of the very first world wars. You have the 10 Years' War. You had the Napoleonic Wars. You had the Crimean War. Those are wars that involved all the countries at that time. The Western countries. They were like world wars. Although World War I was truly the first world war, and then World War II. But they were World War. So Crimea was a place where, like the Charge of the Light Brigade, the British. The Charge of the Light Brigade.
Yeah.
That happened in the Crimean War. It's got a history of bloodshed.
Crimean War. Let me look that
And
up.
so, look up the year on the Crimean War.
1853
Are we
to
still trying to
February
make the tie to
1856.
22?
No, that's not really a connection. It's just
Major events.
It's like a historical connection. I mean, so this part of
Yeah.
the country. So Ukraine is really important because it's the connection between Europe and Asia.
Okay.
Just like the Middle East is important because the Middle East is the connection from Africa Africa, Europe, and Asia. Now, what's interesting about the Middle East, there's a lot of oil there. What's there a lot of in Ukraine?
Oil.
Oil. Okay, so Ukraine's in the middle of it all. And you know what? Russia probably could have put a lot of pressure on them without invading, and they probably would have had their way with them. But once they started this whole invasion thing,
This was a 3-year war.
the Crimean
October
War.
to March. Yeah, 1853,
Yeah.
1856.
Right.
Wars nowadays, they don't last 3 years.
It depends. It depends, right?
Afghanistan,
I was going to
Afghanistan
say,
was we were
conflict.
it was a
Vietnam.
war.
How long?
We were actually there trying to build like nation build.
Oh, God.
This whole thing about nation building we can talk about later, right? But so you know what I built a parallel between? What's the name of the Ukrainian president?
Vladimir something.
Isn't Vashenko like a Russian from a movie?
we need Google to
I know
pronounce
we need Ukrainian. I'm all using my I have my tablet here. I should.
But people are pissed off. I mean, if
well-
Switzerland is Shell, I mean, all these companies dumping this oil and gas business in Russia,
What
they're
did-
fed up with this
What
asshole.
did Elon Musk do? Do you know what Elon
he
Musk
started
did?
his
Satellites.
He sent them receivers to get free internet from his satellites. They just got their first shipment today of the Starlink receivers, so they can start using the internet from his satellites.
If this guy is able to hold off the Russians for a while,
He's
and
hell
if people are going to start, people didn't want to help him at all because they thought it was going to just topple over. Now that he didn't leave. Have you seen the meme with him actually staying, and then Ted Cruz during COVID going to Cancun? And it says, this is what leaders do. They stay and fight.
right? So here's an interesting parallel. Who was one of the greatest recent presidents of our time from the
Reagan.
1980s? Reagan.
Reagan.
What do you know about Reagan? He was an actor.
Yeah.
Stood up
course.
to the Soviet
Oh,
Union.
so this Lushenko guy
Is an actor.
yeah.
What an interesting coincidence that is. And he's standing up to the Russians.
But he was a comedian, wasn't he, before president?
he was a comedian, but he was an actor.
So like Schwarzenegger.
I found that to be an interesting coincidence.
Like Schwarzenegger?
Is Zelensky the Ukrainian Reagan?
Hmm.
Do you know what I mean?
What's his name?
Volodymyr Zelensky.
Zelensky.
We will go.
How
drink
Zelensky changed the West
We will go drink
response.
vodka with Zelensky when he conquers the Russians.
We'll give
And not
you-
only that, you know what Ukraine did today? You know what they did?
We need bullets. We don't need tickets out of the country.
Do you know what they did? And this is a big thing. They used a drone strike to attack a refinery in Russia.
Oh, wow.
What? So they're going into country.
Wow.
Okay, so here's the thing.
They attacked the Russian homeland.
Okay.
Even though it was drones, when was the
Still
last
though.
time anybody attacked the Russian homeland?
It's like only in Stephen
World
King
War II.
movies.
I know, right? Like
When
the
you see
clowns.
pictures of like a war-torn country, yeah.
So here's the thing. As long as the people, here's the thing. So things are going to turn when civilians start getting killed.
Well, that's what's going on in Ukraine. Civilians are
Exactly.
dying.
They are, well,
There's a video of the missile hitting an apartment complex.
and that 6-year-old little girl that passed away,
And then people just got so energized about that old lady giving that soldier sunflower seeds. Said, put these in your pocket so when you die, the flowers will grow on your grave.
Oh, God.
An old lady goes up to a Russian and tells him that. Put these in your pocket.
Oh, here, Edward Snowden sends out first tweet since Russia's Ukraine invasion.
He has
I'd like
be
to hear
careful.
what he knows.
Wait
a minute, he's in Russia.
He's in Russia.
yeah, he's still-
Oh, he's gotta be-
Yeah.
Okay, so Edward Snowden's very quiet because Russian gave him asylum, right?
Like that.
Yeah.
So I'm sure his take would be interesting. Who else has been really quiet on Russia? Like who else has been probably the most important person in our country? Who's been quiet on Russia?
You're talking about Trump?
No,
I was going to say
Biden.
Biden.
Why would Biden be quiet about Russia?
I know. I was thinking the other way.
Why would
I was
Biden
thinking
be
the other
quiet
thing.
about Russia?
Because he doesn't want to make it political, and he's letting
No.
everybody else
No.
come out
Okay,
against
so-
Oh,
him.
this is interesting.
so-
Continue.
What?
So-
Why?
His son.
His son.
His son has got something going
and
on.
So, okay, here's a connection.
Oh my God.
So, Hunter Biden
The plot thickens.
was in Russia, and there's dumping money into Russia, these money deals and all that. What else was going on during that time before Zelensky became president? So prior to Zelensky, before that election, there was a pro-Russia government in Ukraine.
Really? So they got
And so
rid of that.
the people were protesting. They came out. There was the election that they threw out the old president, and Zelensky was elected, which was a pro-West president. All during the same time that Hunter Biden was getting Democratic money and spending it inappropriately in Ukraine. So the United States has been promising Ukraine all sorts of help, but why the hell has Biden been quiet? Because he is so balls deep with his son, and Russia knows about it. So Russia not only knows that, because we're here saying like Russia is very corrupt and they're doing this because they're evil, but Russia knows what the Biden family was doing in Ukraine.
So wasn't Trump doing the same damn thing?
But not only
siding
like
up with
snoozing with Putin.
But not only
That's what I was thinking.
Hold on. But not only was the Biden family using money to make money, using political money to make a profit, right, which is against the law, but they were also bringing American money to help with the protest to overthrow the pro-Russian government. So again, why is Biden been very quiet? Because his family was balls deep in it. Now, we shouldn't take away from the fact that the Ukrainians, they're fighting for their freedom, they're doing this, because that's a very American ideal. I asked a friend of mine this weekend, I said, what's the number one export of the United States? What's the
idealism.
What ideal, though? It's been very specific. Freedom, liberty. The number one export of the United States, more than anything else. So we should support them. That's an important topic. They're fighting for their freedoms. They're putting their foot down to the Russian Empire, the monolith that they are.
Oh my God, they're talking about Russia being bogged down. I don't understand how. I don't believe any of this stuff.
They're saying there's videos of Russian tanks running out of gas in Ukraine.
What do they expect? I mean, it's another one of those.
Russia does not have the money to support their own military no more.
What?
Well, they have no
their
money
economy is so bad, and not only that, because we cut the bank ties and all that, we froze all the money.
Oh, it's a week. It's been 7 days. How can they be out of money?
How many billions of dollars a day does it cost? A day.
You don't stop.
You have to feed guys, and not only that, they had 150,000 soldiers on the border of Ukraine, and they've had them there for a couple of weeks. You're having to feed them every day. You're having to truck supplies into them every day. You're having to transport them every day. How many billions of dollars do they spend to the onset there, taking everybody there, sending all the aircraft, getting all the tanks there, the trains? They're using all the resources that you have to pay for.
I don't know. I think that it's going to take. What we're seeing is more than just governments getting involved. I think businesses are getting involved. The social media is getting involved.
Oh, totally.
There's a lot more pressure against Russia right now. Not Russians, but
not
Vladimir
Russians. Because here's what's interesting: Russians are actually demonstrating that we don't want
the
this
hell.
freezer.
Yeah, they
Exactly.
don't want I've seen pictures of
They're
that.
surprised about this whole
Yeah.
thing.
They're surprised too. And the whole thing, here's something about Vladimir Putin that came out. During COVID, he isolated himself completely. He has not had any human contact, even his advisors.
Oh, they're blaming that on his
They're saying,
aggression.
what is his mental condition right now? The fact that he's being erratic, he's putting everybody on nuclear alert.
What the hell is that about? Why would you get nuclear weapons involved with something like this?
This has the potential, if you're not careful, you don't have the right leaders, to blow up bad.
I was going to say, this sounds like it has the potential to be dangerous. If
really
you get yourself into a desperate situation, what do you think happens with desperate people?
What happens when you corner an animal?
Well, something's going to happen where they try to save face somehow.
He's going to try to say that there were soldiers on the ground in Ukraine, and he's going to make a bad decision. Because the worst thing that could happen is he says the Western allies had soldiers on the ground, and they're fighting the Russians.
So here, this is where I was going with earlier. You have the drone strike, you say, in Russia?
Yes.
As long as it doesn't kill any Russian citizens.
But you know what? The Russians
will turn.
Here's the thing, though. The Russians, the motherland, they're irregardless of what you think of Russians, that they don't want war and all that, they're still patriotic.
Exactly. So don't attack the bear. And don't sting it.
And they just threw a spear into the bear's den. You know what? A bear might sleep through the first one. If you do it again and you make too many incursions into the bear's den, what happens when the bear wakes up? He's bloodthirsty. You know, bears come out of hibernation.
Yeah.
They kill, and they can't even digest because they've been in hibernation. They kill just for the lust of blood. So Ukraine needs to be careful when they're attacking Russia, because the Russian people will get behind Putin on that.
Well, here's the situation, though. Just like with any war, when it comes down to it, people are just defending their home.
Right.
When it really just comes down to...
Which is why, on the Ukrainian side, it's a just war right now.
Yeah, but... Okay,
they're defending their home.
But still, like, I mean, I'm not defending Russia, but you're talking about soldiers on the ground. You're talking about, like, someone making decisions for them, and they have to... At the end of the day, it's going to come down to bare essentials. Home,
it's
food,
all about them bare necessities.
But it is. I mean, unfortunately, like...
And here's
Ukraine isn't a third world country.
No, they're not.
It's not like...
No.
It's a beautiful
it's not the United
modern
States, it's
city.
not England, but it's not a third world country.
No.
But it doesn't matter who
they have like 4 nuclear plants to provide energy. There's Chernobyl's there in Ukraine too. The nuclear meltdown that was the nail in the coffin for the Soviet Union, that's Chernobyl.
That was near Kiev, wasn't it?
Yeah. So, like, Ukraine has a rich history. They're one of the bread baskets of Europe. They've got the Caucasus, where all the oil comes from. Ukraine, legitimately, is really important.
So...
I mean, Ukraine, if they come out of this and they fully industrialize, will be a rich, democratic country.
Well, I think a lot of people are in support of Ukraine right now.
I think they are.
Yeah, I mean, it's just...
It's the big bad evil brother.
You're talking about the bear and poking at the bear.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's some the opposite of that happened
right now
with Putin going into Ukraine,
reason.
being a bully, because nobody likes a bully.
And not only that, when he said, "No, we're going to go defend these 2 regions and we're going to declare them their own countries," people were like, "Who are you to declare?"
What? And
that's like somebody coming to the United States and saying, "You know what? Arizona's its own country, and so is Wisconsin." Who in the hell does that?
Texas.
You don't go into somebody's house and tell them how to live.
Well, I don't know. It's and at least I'm proud of the Ukrainians for standing up to this bully. And
the reality is, Ukraine.
Those guys on the 13, what is it? 13 military on that on Snake Island or whatever that island was.
You talk about literally staring down the barrels.
Yes, it turns out they are all alive.
Are they alive?
Yeah, they were captured.
Oh,
and
they
were
really?
alive. But that wasn't the news initially. They're blown away to bits.
They probably thought what they thought because they didn't find the bodies, right? But the reality was there's recordings of them saying Russian ship,
this is it.
Go fuck yourself.
Exactly.
You go fuck yourself.
Did you know about this? Did you hear about this?
No.
So like a Russian frigate saying,
in a frigate,
Ukrainian.
I know what a frigate is.
So
Listen,
they're
I play Civilization. Okay.
They're around whatever this warship is.
Snake Island. It's called Snake Island.
Is it called Snake Island? Okay, I was okay. Good. So this small. It's like the Falklands, man. I mean, it's like this little sheep herding little colony, which is probably has not even a landing.
Well, they call it Snake Island, so it probably has like just a bunch of snakes. It's probably like an ecological reserve.
But there's a base. Probably running some sort of satellite or some sort of a radar. 13 soldiers on it. The radio traffic comes across saying, put down your arms, surrender now, and we will begin the bombing. And said, "Oh, this is it." You can hear them talking. This is it.
Oh, crazy.
Well,
no. 13 guys are there, and like they're like these warships are gonna. It's like me being here with you guys. Hey guys, either we give up or this warship. A warship is like it's power. They're gonna shoot at us. We're gonna
yeah,
die.
we have
and
zero
and we're like,
chance.
what are we gonna do? Do we give up? Or what do we do, guys? And they somehow they said like, go tell them to fuck off.
Exactly.
Like that takes balls.
And they're probably just
takes
as
balls.
Russian as the guys on the ship. That's the thing. If they did the 23andMe,
Yeah.
they're all the same genes. They're all Russians basically, or they're all that
so you know the history
group.
Of that? Do you know the history of so Russia saying
They're all-
Ukraine is Russian? They're saying no, they're Russians, and there's a lot of truth to that.
Yeah, but not
Because-
anymore. I mean,
They don't
they
want to.
divided.
They
They
don't
made
want
their own
to.
country. Let them be.
So Ukrainians at one point were very ethnic, right? They were their own ethnic group. Maybe
Pass
they
the
were
bottle.
called Ukrainian,
Pass the bottle, man.
but there was an ethnic group. But during Stalin's reign,
Okay, he's like closer to it.
during Stalin's reign,
Now pour
so
the
many
wine.
Ukrainians died. What do you want?
Pour the wine.
Oh, the tattoo girl. There's only a little bit left of this
But
girl.
still, we have some of that.
Hey, I'm drinking up this girl.
Oh, you're gonna finish it off?
No, this is
No,
beer.
you're gonna
Okay.
finish it off, and we'll open this other one.
Ugh,
you go.
tattoo girl. I love this girl.
There's a member's.
Is that
Let me just get.
Oh my God.
Oh,
He's getting
you have
chewed.
you have a tramp stamp right there. If you just roll that on you.
Whoa,
Whoa!
dude, a wine bottle where you just roll it
Mark, help
I'm
help
sorry.
our friend.
on.
He's
I
all.
got excited with the tattoo girl.
I know.
Tattoo girl, if you need sponsor, if you want somebody.
We're all like,
sponsor
focus.
somebody, like- Okay.
That's good.
So when Russia was
Stalin.
when he was moving people around and all that, right? A lot of people died to starvation when they're reallocating the farms to the state and all that. They killed a lot of Ukrainians. And then they started.
But it
giving-
wasn't Ukraine. It wasn't Ukraine at that time. It wasn't a country yet,
It wasn't, but
It was a
still-
region.
It was a region,
right?
So they started bringing Russians from the cities to give them the land to farm. So a lot of Russians ended up settling there. So they were actually Rus. They were these people that were from all over Russia,
like Belarus.
like Belarus. They were actually, maybe not because that Russia has a lot of ethnicities, but they were from proper Russia, right? So, but over the last 50 years, they've all grown to love this region. Their families are there.
But here's the Declaration of Independence of Ukraine was 24th of August, 1991.
Right. When after the wall fell and they became a country.
So they became independent in
Here, let me
91.
open this one first.
So okay, so here let's go back
Oh,
to the
you're gonna
Chinese
do that
then.
one.
Taiwan.
This is called.
So here's the
This is called a gypsy wine puller.
Oh, please demonstrate. I want to see this. Have you seen this?
You know what? You're right. Let's go there.
It looks like Marvel. He's
like Wolverine.
Wolverine with the
Wolverine for
little
a Wolverine wine drinker.
Wolverine wine drinker. Okay.
How do we open this?
Yeah, 1991. So
He has a
okay, so
corner.
let's think about this because Taiwan separated from Chinese. The Chinese are probably thinking, "Well, shit, nobody's doing anything about the Ukraine.
That's the thing we have to watch out.
Well, now we're gonna just take over Taiwan." And Taiwan's
So-
probably saying, or what about those islands in the South Pacific
So
that are
Taiwan-
that the Chinese built the whole
So
like
Taiwan's
island?
Taiwan's different, but it's not. But Taiwan's different because
Okay, South
it happened
Korea,
after-
North Korea.
Taiwan happened after the Chinese Revolution, Mao, communist, the Chinese, like the Chinese Democratic Party, they all fled to Taiwan after the communists took over. The government forces, they all left to Taiwan, and so Taiwan was they were the Chinese that ran away from the communists, right?
Mm-hmm.
It was a part of. It actually was a part of China. Its history was always a part of China, but they leave China, and
Right.
so the Chinese had actually been fighting Taiwan to be a part of to bring them back in the fold with China. Ever since then, matter of fact, China used to bomb Taiwan daily. They used to just bomb Taiwan daily, so much so that they had a regular schedule. They said, okay, between 8 and noon, we're going to bomb the hell out of you, and then the rest of the day is yours to rebuild.
Think
And
of Israel and Palestine.
so that's another curious thing, because if you look at the historical context of Israel and Palestine, there has always been an Israel. There's always been an Israel. When did the name Palestine come out?
After the World War II.
After World War I, I believe the British called the area Palestine. There's a tribe called the Philistines There's a tribe called the Philistines.
I want to see this.
Okay. So you get this thing and you squeeze it
Okay.
in between the cork here,
Okay.
and it's pretty cool.
Where the heck did you get that?
Well, it's one of these things I picked up where I wanted to impress a girl. I'd be like a wine drinker, and I was like, "Ooh, that's not a normal wine opener." And you squeeze it in.
You squeeze it in, and then you just like.
You're supposed to get it wet with water. So you squeeze it in, and it doesn't drill a hole in the cork. You see that, Dario?
Yes, I saw that.
Yeah, look at that. You squeeze it in between the glass, the cork. It's got the two metal prongs. You don't screw it in.
Oh, and then you just like.
And then you just and it just comes out after you.
It seems like a challenge.
Freaking fancy, but it seems like a challenge.
Watch out! Don't cut your fingers.
Dude, it seems like girls would be all into it until like there's blood everywhere.
But there's no hole in the cork.
Here, fill up Dario.
So this is Mimber's red.
Yes.
Oh yeah. So
So-
we're at a good playing, but so let's kind of go with this, and then we'll because today's our short format. We just want to catch up with what's in the news.
And you know what?
There's a lot going on right now.
Yeah.
It's only a few days old.
But you know what though? It's a really dangerous time right now.
It's a but I don't think it's dangerous. I think that there's a lot of surprise about the support for the Ukraine that's coming out from unexpected areas.
Everyone.
I think that's going to create more pressure against
Do you know what came out today?
Russia.
Do you know what
They'll
came out
find a
in the news today?
ceasefire.
Ukraine is trying to file the paperwork to be a part of the European Union.
Yes, they want to get that faster, get that done fast. They want to.
They want to what do you call it?
Accelerate it.
Accelerate it.
Accelerate.
And Jeanette's still thinking it works. She's still thinking. Let's
Expedite it.
Can we please expedite that?
We expedite that. But you know what's interesting about this, and you know what I like about this? I like that we're talking about this, but also in a few days, if we wanted to come back and revisit any new news, we could always come back and do another short format with new
I
information.
don't think it's going to change in a couple of days. I think.
Yeah, how about another week?
Unless a nuclear bomb's dropped.
Oh, let's not think like that, dude. But you know what's
it's
crazy?
nuts.
Anything is possible.
I don't know what to think about it all right now. I think it's a really dangerous time right now because Russia's putting everybody on nuclear alert, and if Russia thinks that the West is involved with soldiers on the ground, I think Putin right now is kind of crazy enough to do this.
Okay, I think the whole nuclear thing is way off.
It's blown out of proportion.
It's not going to be a part of it.
He did activate his nuclear defense forces.
Whatever. He can do anything else. It's not going to be like
if I had a
the
nuclear
Cuban
defense
Missile
force,
Crisis.
I would activate them. If I had one in
Where's
my
that,
backyard,
Daddy?
If he was doing it, my glass is right there.
Eric.
That empty glass right there.
I'm sorry. You know what?
That one's mine.
You know what?
Let me
As
see.
an ally, as a comrade in arms, I let you down there. I let you get invaded.
You really
That's okay.
freaking did. But you know what? I applaud you for opening the bottle.
Remember this red is delicious.
So here's the thing: Russia does not want Ukraine to be part of NATO.
Right.
Therefore, they invaded Ukraine. All Ukraine could have done would say, "Don't worry, Russia. We will not become part of NATO."
Come back and
And
revisit
that's
that.
all he wants is a buffer. He wants a buffer around him from Western influence.
Smells
Because
nice.
how long can this guy be in power? He hasn't been
since like the turn of the
he
century
can't
after
be
Boris Yeltsin.
elected continuously.
It's like 20 years. He might as well.
There's
be
no
a
competition.
dictator.
He is a dictator. There's nobody.
Former KGB guy that loved the glory of the Russian
No.
Empire of the USSR. He's trying to reestablish the Russian.
No, I
Empire.
don't think so. Well, you know what?
We know.
What he's trying to do, what he's doing now. There's nothing. He's just like Hitler. He's going to take over Ukraine. He thinks he's going to take over.
What did Chamberlain do? He said, "Let's give Hitler some elbow room."
Well,
And Chamberlain came back to England and said, "We have peace for our time." And what happened?
he didn't
invaded
stop there.
Poland.
He
Didn't stop
invaded
there.
Poland,
He kept for
invaded
more.
Europe.
Kept
That's what
for more.
Russians. That's what Russians are going to do. So I don't think that's going to happen. I think what's going to happen. This is going to blow over. Ukraine will go back to being Ukraine. Russians will pull out. There'll be some sort of ceasefire. They will say we won't become part of NATO. Whatever. NATO doesn't mean anything. If NATO didn't get involved right now, it's not going to happen.
They're saying they're not going to initiate Article 5 because Ukraine's not a NATO country, so they're not going to declare war because they're not one of the allies. But they're going to offer him support.
They're going to offer him support. He wants bullets. He wants weapons. He
And
wants
everybody's
support.
doing that.
But
and
they're
not
doing
only
more than that. They're doing, these sanctions. They're doing beyond.
Sanctions, because Russia's had sanctions now for like 15 years, but the sanctions that they're
They
imposing,
have?
there has been.
Okay, so what else? The Russians
But
don't.
the sanctions now, though, it's going to cripple their banking system and their money, like take them out.
You know what? He's going to be in such a worse global, level
Everything.
than before, because he's a bully, and globally, just like in
Right.
elementary school, nobody likes a bully.
Nobody likes a bully.
likes a
So
bully.
so he's going to be thrown to the side. He's going to be assassinated by his own people. The oligarchs.
prediction.
What are these?
That's a
What are these
That
guys?
is,
I think
that's
that's
a good prediction.
They're going to overthrow him.
I can see the oligarchs.
Oligarchs,
doing it.
all these billionaires that are losing their yachts, their
There was an article today that a Ukrainian captain that mans a yacht for one of the oligarchs, he sank the oligarch yacht to show solidarity for Ukraine.
Amen. People, and that's what's going to happen. These bullies that try to take over, that do these things, that's it. They're done. It doesn't exist anymore.
So
That's what's different in nowadays. That's why you shouldn't have wars like this
You know
anymore.
why? And this is why China. This is why North Korea. That's why these weird countries.
We learned that mistake with
Are being
Hitler. We
quiet.
shouldn't allow them to do
That's why
this.
all these weird countries are being quiet. Like China is oddly quiet. You know why? They want to see what's going on. Like Kim Il Sung, that little crazy SOB. He's quiet.
That little Korean guy?
Yeah, he's quiet.
No, he's not quiet. He just launched another
But
thing
he's not saying anything
over
in the
Japan.
news. You know why? Because it depends on how it plays out, right?
Okay, so what happened
So
when?
this is just like his little.
What
social
happened when
experiment.
Argentina tried to take over the Falklands?
Oh man,
The
when the British finally mobilized,
The British went over there, said, "Hey, that's our island." So what's the story with the Falklands nowadays? Is it British still?
it's still British. It never changed over. Who else in the Americas support Russia? Which is in the news. It was like in the news like a month ago.
Cuba.
Well, Cuba, Venezuela. So, Putin came out that when this all kind of was starting to rumble, Venezuela.
Venezuela.
And not only that, Chile just became a socialist country.
No,
But they
he's
had,
not support. No, they're not.
they're not supporting,
No.
but they became a socialist country. But Putin had said a couple of months ago that if we didn't back off with NATO, accepting all these Eastern Bloc countries, he was going to put missile silos in all these American countries that support or that are allied with Russia, Venezuela, Cuba. I mean, talk about history repeating.
Starting all over again.
History repeating itself.
Okay, have you guys seen Peaky Blinders?
I've
started
seen-
seeing it.
I've
Peaky
saw
Blinders.
some.
You got to start watching that.
I do know.
There's a scene
the
in there
premise.
when they should have gotten rid of somebody, they didn't,
Uh-huh.
and that person came back later. And
What was that awesome scene when that one guy
There's
says,
a lot.
I want
There's
to
a lot of
buy
them.
this whole thing.
Yeah.
And he goes, I'm okay with that. And what did he say? Oh, yeah, we're going to flip the
Let's
coin.
flip the
We're
coin.
gonna flip the coin. Heads, it's yours.
it's all yours.
Beat.
Tails,
I get your daughter.
I get your daughter.
and I say it that way because we have ears listening.
That's right.
So with that being said, I mean,
So,
I think that this is a good show. I think that
So the current events going on in the show, just a quick wrap
I think
up.
it was just. I think it was a nice
I think it was nice.
cursory touch on a lot of different things
So-
that are influencing what's happening.
Here's
It's
something that's
fast
been-
moving.
Here's something that's been on my mind real fast, just so as we're wrapping it up.
Okay.
The mainstream media, the news cycle, has a funny way of covering certain topics when they try to avoid other topics.
What are they avoiding right now?
What are they avoiding right now? What's going on in America right now that the mainstream media... I think Ukraine's super important. I think it's super important for everything we stand for what's going on in Europe.
So what do you think that's happening right now?
I
That's
don't
taking
know.
Americans' minds off
I
of...
started thinking about that today. what's going on in the news.
What's
that's-
Trump
Inflation.
doing? I always wonder what he's doing.
See, I wasn't wondering that, because Trump gave like all
A
those
speech.
all those missiles that they shot to that they're shooting at the Russian aircraft. That didn't come from Biden. That came from the Trump administration.
So Trump sold weapons to Ukraine.
No, he gave them all those stingers that they're using to shoot down the Russian planes. That came during the Trump
Cool.
administration. He said they were supporting them. Now the small arms and the ammo and all that is coming from the Biden administration.
So
Trump
you're
was
you're
all
saying
that.
that there's a cloak about they're trying to
So
deflect on something.
Every time
There's
there's a
deflection.
every time there's a massive event in the news regarding the president or somebody, Kim Kardashian had a tummy talk.
Oh, what's going on with this fighter jet?
The ghost of Kiev.
Yes.
Dude, how cool is that? He is the
What
first.
is going on
he
with
is
this
the
dude?
First
Wait a minute, who
fighter
told you
ace.
that?
He is the first fighter ace of the 21st century.
What is
Wait,
he flying?
did you tell him this?
Yes.
Did Mitchell tell you
It's been in
this?
the news. That's a good call.
Dude.
It's a
Wow.
good call.
Fifth graders are very informed about what's
so
going
check
on.
this out.
Awesome.
There is not. We have not. I mean, we've had the first fighter races came out in World War One, and then World War Two. There was some fighter action going on during the Vietnam War. Not really anything. Not anything. There was very little going on in the Persian Gulf.
So
There was a couple
who
of
is
MiGs.
the ghost of?
So the
Kiev?
ghost of Kiev is the first fighter ace of the current century. He knocked down like 2 MiGs. He knocked down 2 of their stealth
Oh,
fighters.
look, no.
Are
fact
you
checker,
kidding
fact
me?
Checker.
Yes, and so 6 total. But 2 of them were their stealth, the new SU whatever stealth fighters that they have, like their version of our Raptors.
Wouldn't it be
He-
funny if we found out it was like an Israeli fighter or an
here's
American fighter?
So here, and I've thought about that too. But come to think about this, he's flying an old MiG. The Russians have their brand new SU, whatever they call their version of the Raptors. He shot down either 2 or 3 of them. He shot down a couple of helicopters. He shot down some of their older planes. Wow, one guy.
That's awesome.
And it's funny that you say Israel
is
because
freaking cool.
I've been thinking about Israel related to Ukraine.
They've been quiet.
And I think they've been doing that on purpose. But everybody was against Israel, Egypt, Syria, when the 10-day war. They had like 3 battlefronts, and Israel destroyed them all. They got the Golan Heights, and here's Ukraine standing like the Israelis did. I think Israel's staying quiet because they don't want to piss anybody off because, they have enemies on all sides.
I wonder who's going to start making waves when this is happening.
That goes to Kiev.
Somebody else is going to come in from behind and try to do something.
Like I say, I'm wondering what the news is not reporting on. What's going on, and I probably should make that a point. What's going on in the news that they're not reporting on and focusing on? Because every time something happened with Trump or Biden or with Hillary Clinton,
they just announced a new federal judge,
Right,
justice.
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, that's actually a good question to end it because, like, really, that's a thought-provoking question. Like,
It is.
what is happening right now that's not being said? Like, what's being
Right.
cloaked? Like, what are
And
we
usually
being?
they have to lean on like Kanye West and Kim Kardashian. You usually have to lean on something.
There has
like
to be something
stupid.
out there.
But right now they have a legitimate story that they can focus on. So what's going on that they're not reporting?
So this is
When
where we
our,
should
when our
come back
midterms, when our elections happen,
in November.
is this something that that Biden is trying to?
Biden didn't even
Hell.
know where he's at half the time.
So who's going to be the next president?
at. Maybe that's
I mean, Trump said he was going to run again. So here's the thing with Trump. I mean, here's my honest opinion with Trump. I think his policies weren't bad. He was all about America first. Going to war with China.
I'm sorry, I don't think he has a clue. That's the only
the
problem.
economy and whatnot. But when it came to like this guy that is all he was all Hollywood, he couldn't separate himself from that. He always ran his mouth. Do you know what I mean?
he was like a Twitter.
He was a Twitter whore.
I was
He
gonna
had
say.
that side of
I
him.
almost said it, but I was gonna say
But
hooker.
you know what though?
Is that better?
But some
Twitter
of
hooker?
the stuff he was talking about, like, hey,
Let's
there
get
was a huge
Elon
trade-
Musk as president.
That would be interesting.
Oh, that would
But
be.
he was born in a foreign country.
He can't
I don't
afford to
think-
South Africa. So
Hmm.
yeah.
All
Well,
right,
to be
everybody.
continued then.
Okay.
So
to be
thought-provoking
continued.
question. I
'Cause
love it.
I think we could keep going for that for 2 hours.
I think so.
And
But this is
real
great.
Quick, anything else in the news we missed? I think the biggest thing's been Ukraine.
I think that was the biggest one.
Yes, but
God bless them,
I think we have a new Supreme Court justice
that's going to be nominated.
That's important.
That's an interesting debate, but we can talk about that later. But
So let's keep our
fallen into the ocean yet?
No,
not yet.
Well,
Not
we got
yet. It'll
COVID.
happen,
I don't know
don't
what's happening with COVID. I don't understand. People are not wearing masks anymore.
Oh, can I say something?
Yeah.
Can I say something?
They're gonna.
It's
not gonna be a pandemic anymore.
No, but it's
They're already changing it.
vaguely related to COVID.
Okay, what is
So
it?
there was a release that came out of the White House, and it wasn't the vice president, but it was like related to FEMA. They said, they came out with these updates related to nuclear war, and they said, because you and I don't know, Jeanette, she's from third world country, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
But
Clearly.
back in our days, there was a nuclear bomb test. Remember that? And you had to get under your table.
Under your desk.
Yes.
I do remember
And then
that.
our elementary schools, in the
I do
basement, they
remember
had rations.
Right. So they came out with this whole thing like, hey, you know what? If there's a nuclear bomb, these are the things you should do. You should go to the lowest point. You should isolate yourself, get into the middle of your home, wherever you're at. And they said, they came out and they said that if in the case of a nuclear bomb, isolate yourself, get into your building, close all the doors and everything, and wear your mask. And if somebody comes in contact with you during a nuclear event and they're not wearing a mask, you should call 911.
Really?
That came out of the White House. Wear your mask, and if you come in contact with somebody, you should call 911 when a nuclear bomb's gone off.
I don't understand that. We'll have to pick
To
that
be
up.
continued.
Like,
Dun, dun, dun.
dun, dun, dun. Hey, it was cool.
That was
It was
cool.
great.
Anything else
That's
comes in the
crazy.
news? Here's
That's
the thing.
crazy.
Anything else comes in the news, let's take a note of it. Let's
That is crazy.
let's review
I do think that there's going to be a movie about the ghost of Kiev.
That's cool.
I think so too, though.
The fighter
That
jet.
sounds
That's the new
exciting.
Top Gun of 2025.
Heck
And you know what? The preview's gonna be this old woman.
People
Put
want to be
these-
inspired, dude.
Put these sunflowers in your pocket so they grow when you're dead. And there's gonna be like these guys.
No. Imagine the soldier. An old lady coming up to you, giving you sunflowers. You think, oh, how nice! What a nice gesture. Thank you. Thank
So
you.
they probably don't
It
have.
says, put these are for you.
They probably
When
don't
you're
have.
dead.
They probably don't have like a goose. They won't have a goose from Top Gun, but they'll have bear. Drink some vodka. Let's go fly plane.
Oh, speaking of Goose, he recently got married this week.
Goose from Top Gun.
Yeah, Anthony Edwards.
Whoa.
Anthony Edwards. He does.
Anthony Edwards.
I thought he was dead.
Yes, I did too. I'm sorry.
All right, thanks everybody.
Dude, you guys have a good night. It was a good touch. Good to talk to you guys, and we'll be back on soon.
All right.
All right, and
Cheers.
Hey, good call the wine
Cheers.
night.
Wine. Let's wine about
Cheers.
it.
Clink,
Or
Clink,
why
clink.
not?
clink,
Clink,
clink, clink. Tattoo girl, go buy you a bottle of Tattoo Girl. Go get girl and get laid.
And if you wish to support our podcast and have us try any other alcoholic beverages, just let us know. And
Yeah,
send
maybe we should put a Patreon page to support an alcoholic.
if you want us to drink with you,
Oh.
send us a bottle of your favorite brew.
Oh!
Wait.
I love
I'm
it.
gonna make that happen. I'm gonna. Do you know I?
Because really somebody out there is probably watching this, having their own whatever cocktail.
They're having
Their adult beverage.
They're having their Mark Jeanette hour drinking with them.
Well, so they're probably drinking their own
Well,
little.
because it's. I mean, honestly, this is what friends do when they have drinks.
They have
Well,
drinks.
when we
They-
get together,
they
we have a
talk.
little talk.
Yeah.
We have a little brew.
We are
And
friends.
so, if you wish us to drink with you, send us your favorite
Honestly,
brew,
we
and we'll
really do
drink.
need a-
We'll drink with you.
I will
We'll
figure out
toast
how to-
you.
I will figure out how to Zoom this. We will.
Perfect. Thank you.
Good night. Happy St. Patty's Day.
Ooh.
Love of the Irish.
Look at the Irish.